Beautiful, beautiful souls. Hello, it is Rada. I'm connecting with you from Moi Nhi, Vietnam. I'm sitting on my balcony looking at the ocean, and I have been pretty much offline for quite some time now. I went on a really, really long journey starting from last year when I got bit by the brown recluse. And what that poison did was actually help to purify even deeper within myself. I want to say that I am someone who in the past has, like many of you, been under spiritual warfare and had some like extreme warfare against me, death magic, etc., etc. And what usually happens when people, groups, organizations, secret societies, people that have been stalking and trying to block me do is that they send out death magic, but what it does is it just starts to kill off like certain aspects of me that were not meant to be, like the victim archetype, which that archetype is something that is created in childhood by perpetrators who create the wounding, the victim archetype, and they perpetuate it in family systems, and they do so because they need to feed from you for your entire life. So they have to do a really good job in desecrating your inner core so that they can stabilize with your core, and you are the one who's energetically wobbly because they are all feeding like the vampires that they are. And I kind of think it's funny now because, you go through this journey and you're like, what the heck are these patterns? And you start to decode them, and you start to see how these systems and structures were all built to use you as a living battery. And that includes organizations, societies, and many other beings that you don't know that know you exist, that knew you were going to be coming here even before your, inception. And part of that has to do with the false light afterlife matrix that is like a second tier of the matrix, where you go for a false life review with beings that you follow the light, and you're brought to a place where you feel all this love, but they're actually nefarious beings that are archonic, and they know your soul. They know you. They know everything about you, and they're gonna guilt trip you into coming back straight away. And to do it, like after you've been severely traumatized from one life, they need you to come back straight away, and they will push you. You didn't complete this. You didn't do that. But they'll do it in a way that's so loving and make you feel like, yes, I can. I should go back. I didn't complete this. And they're already doing the destiny swapping in the in that false matrix afterlife experience, because they know that you did complete certain cycles. They know that you did accomplish your missions. And if you were cut short, that it was done so bypassing universal law. And so they try to get you back into the same situations over and over again. That's why the persecution wound is so big, and so many real, talking about the authentic light workers, not the fake ones that are out here. They're the ones that are racking in all the money. And there's nothing wrong with making money, by the way, but they're the shiny ones that are have the gloss on top, but they don't have the substance underneath. I mean, I've had so many programs that basically were quote unquote borrowed by other light workers that were in my private emails, but they were copied verbatim. I had a program called Ignite with Rada, and that was stolen as soon as I created the whole entire program. And I won't say who, but somebody else is using that program. And so anyhow, that's another destiny swap thing that goes on a lot, is that a lot of these quote unquote light workers that are in more of the public eye, they actually are part of the matrix, and so they get access to other people's emails and other people's private data. And that's been going on for a long time. I could not understand why and how certain people who were in the same industry as me were always launching the product, the launching the course or whatever right as I finished writing it all out. Like, I always like go into detail and write everything out. And then I couldn't understand. I was like, well, my email's private, isn't it? But it's not really. So that's just something to be aware of. The copycats, the ones that wear the mask of being somebody that they're actually the opposite of. And we're going through a prolific unmasking in this world right now, where so many people who pretended to be humanitarians and pretended to be doing good for the world are actually like the complete opposite of that. And I mean, that's coming out into the public, but there's so many different facets of it. You have to understand that the matrix, the quote unquote program, has people in every pocket. The coaching industry, the healing industry, and a lot of the quote unquote famous people are the perpetrators who are wearing the mask, but they're just they're the matrix wearing the mask. I came across Deepak Chopra when I was a teenager. I got to meet him in Ashland, Oregon, because my ex-monk stepdad was like completely obsessed with Deepak Chopra, so he had all of his stuff and brought us. And I will tell you, Deepak Chopra was so creepy when I met him. Basically, I won't really go into detail, but I was in a spot with him that was where no one else was, and he was just not an upstanding guy. I think I was like a teenager, like maybe 15 or so, or I was a teen, and basically he invited me to join him somewhere, and I didn't because I didn't have a car, but I'm glad I didn't, because now we know, right? So, but under the pretext of like spiritual awakening, spiritual meditation, or something of that nature. Anyhow, yeah, that I think that a lot of people's heroes are gonna be not their heroes anymore. The true superheroes haven't been. They may have some visibility, but not like that level of visibility yet. And I'm telling you, it's gonna shift and change, because there's so many people that are holding the codes, and they have been used like a printing machine for other people to siphon, to take from, to copy and paste. Like, all my work that I've been doing, I've been thinking about like, wow, I have so much work that I haven't put out, because every time I was about to launch it, a super big name would launch the exact same thing with the same name, everything, and it would just like, it would trip me out. But at this point, I don't care, because I know the work that I've been doing and the level that I've been doing behind the scenes. Not everybody is out here screaming about it. Like, I think the majority of people who are really on this path and on this path have been doing a lot of the stuff within themselves because they had to, because they had so much put on them, burdens, I mean, by their family, by their friends, by their quote unquote partners. But what I've come to realize is how so like 99.9% of the people are scripted into your reality, including parentals, in order to train you from the get-go to be their trash can for all of their bad karma, for all of their like negativity and all of their self-hatred and all the stuff that they didn't want to deal with as an NPC. So they entrain the child to be a trash can for all the garbage. And then the child starts to grow up and is the trash can in all the relationships. So when the child grows up, at some point the child has to pull away and unhook, like find the hooks and unhook themselves from everything, from everybody, because there are too many scripted, I don't know what you would call them, NPCs, too many scripted beings that have been feeding off of this particular being, because that's how this matrix was set up, to attack and to feed off of the one who is generating from source and self. So these types of people, they're not always the type of people who, they're not always the flashiest. They're not always the ones that brag the most, although they should give themselves credit, because I will tell you, this archetype of the unseen, hero is carrying a lot of other people's stuff. And so when they unhook from all of it, and they have to go through a cathartic process in order to do this, because it's so systematic, all the old familiars will want to plug in, and they don't want to let them off the hook, because they're benefiting, because they are the storage bin, they are the trash can for these others, the NPCs. And the NPCs inherently know. They know. That's why NPCs hate source-coded beings, because they cannot stand them. And there's so many NPCs and so few source-coded beings. It's actually shocking. And so that's why they get into these groups, into these gangs, into these secret societies, because the NPCs feed off of like collective, because they do not generate their own consciousness. They are fed scripts, they live by scripts, and they die by scripts. And they love to gossip, they love to try to destroy a sovereign being's life, because they don't have that source encodement. So they actually try to harvest through sacrifice. And that's why all these secret societies and stuff, they think that they're teaching them like all of this stuff, but really these are NPCs, and they have scripts and they go by the scripts. There's nothing really special about it. They weren't born with those codes. They're just copycats, and they will take the hard work of the ones who are source coded, who put in all of the labor, and they will take it and they will steal it over and over again. If you've ever wondered why like your work has been stolen, if you are source coded, it is because they have had their eye on you since day one. And every person in your life is NPC who is generating off of your energy. Now, we don't want to demonize everybody. Like there are so many amazing people. There are wonderful people. Whenever I see people being of service and serving the animals, and I really appreciate that, because it takes a real soul to care about an animal. like everywhere in the world, in Vietnam, there's so many animals here that do not have food and water. And I go from my hotel, I walk down and there's a little cafe down the street, and it's like crazy because in that short walk there's like 3 or 4 homeless dogs, and I always bring water and I try to give them water and food. So and they're so hungry and they're so thirsty and they're so beautiful. Like, these are beautiful, beautiful beings. And it's so frustrating to think that, like, people just don't see other life forms as valuable, or having any worth. It's bizarre to me. It's bizarre. I always know someone's heart and soul by the way they treat animals and how they feel about animals. So I appreciate good people who are here to do good things, here to inspire and uplift others, those who have gone through the hell realms but came back even stronger. And that's something that I just went through, is going through the underworld and really being with the archetype of the Anubis, understanding that it's like parts of myself had to die. And this has been going on for so long. Like, every time they send death magic to me, they don't kill me literally, but they kill parts of me that were victims to them in the past. And they want you to continue to feel like a victim. And I'm not a victim. These beings have done things that have caused what victimization in my life. Like, they have targeted my mail. They have been literally stealing my mail in the USA from my mailbox. I had a great lady who worked at the post office, and she was changed out for another guy. And since this guy came on, they stole my license, and I got my license and it never came. So I went down to the DMV and had to get another license, and I had to, basically redo it again because they told me they had sent it. It should have already been there a long time ago. Same with my license plate. I never got my license plate. Same with my banking statements, which were obviously ripped open, and not even closed properly. And there was stuff missing. So they've been doing this for a long time to me. They've gone as far as recruiting people in my family, people I've spoken about before, cousins and things like that, to come against me and to actually, quote unquote, be me, like take my place, not just energetically, that too, but also like literally physically. That's why I think they stole my driver's license and my license plate and stuff like that, because they wanted to pretend, I mean, who knows if they wanted to frame me for something. They've done a lot of crazy stuff to me, and they violated my property, violated my property, put in cameras in my home, and doing a lot of illegal stuff, like serious federal crimes and things like that. So yeah, and also like when I do my road trips, they would open up my car door like without a key, and they would roll down my windows, open my sunroof, and just do things that they think that would shock me and scare me to death. Ultimately, they wanted me to take myself out, and I'm never going to do that, you guys. So I love my life. I love my life. I repeat, I love my life, and I value my life. I'm not that kind of a person. It has been depressing at times when people that you, and also people you love, are in on it, like your family members, like your friends, being approached and being bought out by these same people that have been ruining your life. And it's shocking to me how easily people will be bought out just based on flattery, because a lot of people are running on low self-esteem. They're running on low self-esteem, and then they get mad at source-coded beings who are not like, they do not think they are better than others. They just are. But they're always trying to project like, oh, you think you're better than us? Well, we have a right to take you down. Nobody said they were better than anybody. That is your own projection. That's your own insecurity. That's your own trauma that needs to be dealt with. That has nothing to do with me or any of these other source-coded beings. But they like to get into these little groups. That's why they will easily take a deal when they get approached. Like, I will not reference the name, but somebody close to me in my family, a cousin took a deal and thought that they were like, if you could take her down, then you'll get this. And she wanted this, she wanted the fame, she wanted the money, and she wanted to take my life. And so that's why she's poisoned me a few times. But also they used her because she could pass as me with a doctored ID and stuff like that. So they try to swap out like your identity, literally, physically and emotionally, spiritually also your gifts, but also literally to wipe you out and take your identity. It hasn't worked. They have taken my driver's license. They've taken a lot of my everything that's personal and private and doesn't belong to them. I mean, they went as far as transferring money from my bank account. And then when I tried to tell my bank account, like, where did this go? They would not tell me the names, the phone numbers, which is illegal. That's why there's an investigation going on into this. And every single person that was tempted by this deal, they're all complicit in this, and everyone will have to pay restitution, because you cannot go around and be stealing people's money out of their bank account. You can't be going around stealing their identity. Like, you are crossing universal law. And if they could have gotten away with it and just made me off myself, well, then they got away with it. Well, I'm not offing myself, and they don't have any authority to take me down like that. That's not okay. That's not all right. And that's also illegal in the higher realms. Like, that's where the creator said, like, enough is enough. You guys need to back up. Like, you have to pay restitution for what you have done. You have violated in ways that, I mean, spiritually, emotionally, physically, mentally, and financially. And the crime list is long. But that being said, we're still here, and we don't give up. I believe that, like so many of the people that have been targeted, many have been unshaken by it, because we're like, no, actually it activated more of my gifts, it activated more of my intuition, it activated more of my knowing, it acted more of my confidence, because I can see how strong I am in the face of adversity. And you could take everything from me, but you can't take my soul. Okay? And you can't take it. So basically, the archetype of Anubis, that archetype brought me deeper into the underworld, where I was able to retrieve certain parts of myself, my soul, that had been hidden because of the viciousness of these attacks, which have been since I was a child, since a certain parental figure came into my life and decided to put my energy onto the black market. And they had to perpetuate that abuse in order to do this. And this is what a lot of we're seeing in these files is that they are putting other people's energies on the black market that they have no right to violate. These beings, these are innocent people. And they have no right to do that. And we have to say no. We do not consent and we do not agree. You have no authority over me. You have no authority over my energy. You have no authority over my life. You are out of your jurisdiction. You are wrong, and now I have to bring you to Creator's Court for judgment because you have violated over and over and over again. Creator has asked you to stop, and you just don't understand, or you just don't care. You think that there is no consequence, but the Creator is like, no more. No more. Like it is the end of the world as we know it for these beings who have been thriving, and they've basically been surfing on our waves, surfing on us, getting the benefit, like riding on our waves to get what they need and what they want. And you have to understand, a lot of these beings, it is expensive for them to be here, and not just expensive in money, it's expensive in energy, because they really don't have the authority to be here, and they have been violating. And so they have to steal innocence. They have to steal from source coded, because why? You ask, well, why would they need to do that? Because they have turned their back from their own source. They can turn around and say, Creator, I am choosing you now. I'm choosing source. I don't want to be a vampire. I don't want to feed off of others' pain and suffering. I don't want to be a thief and a con artist anymore. I don't want to be a perpetrator of abuse. And I am repenting because I have done wrong to so many people, and they have to face the fact that they have done something wrong. But many of these people have the inability, like most narcissists, to apologize. It's just literally it, like they cannot apologize. They cannot confess to their wrongdoing. Instead, what they will do is they will take all the wrongdoing, put it in a ball, and they will, like paintball, they will throw it at you and make you carry their sins, make you carry their burdens, make you carry their bad karma if you let them. So you can't let them. And this is where we have to say no. It's time for accountability, and I do not consent and I do not agree. And everything that you have done to violate universal law is no longer in good standing. You are not being supported by the Creator, and everything that you stole needs to come back to me with X restitution. Okay, so the old ways are it's not working anymore, and it has a lot to do with the time that we live in. So like, I always laugh because this particular family member who thought that they were going to be Beyonce and be part of the dark and use me as their ticket, right? Because they need a golden ticket. With the help of these organizations, because these organizations really, really empowered them to think and believe that they were going to be riding on top of the world. I mean, this particular being wrote to me about how they're on private jets and all of this stuff, ridiculous, crazy stuff. Anyhow, I laugh because I'm like, bad timing, girl, bad timing. Like, if you had joined maybe, I don't know, 30 years ago, it could be a different story. But right now, like in the past 5 years or so, like the cracks are starting. It's not because of me, it's because of the Creator of all that is. The Creator of all that is saying no more. It's the end of this cycle. You guys had your fun, you abused, you used, you siphoned, and you stole, and now it's time for restitution. This is a time where you guys have to pay back what you have taken, and there is something called interest. So as the Kali Yuga ends and the Satya Yuga begins, it's a slow breakdown, but that's why you will see that these beings are frantic and trying to create chaos and wars and trauma, because they need a lot of people who are source coded and have not given themselves over, have said no more. And so when a bunch of us who say no more stand up and they're not getting their food and their supply. You have to understand, on the chain of things, there are so many, like these organizations, they already know who you are. They know who you are before you were born. That's why when I was a little girl, I was already getting stalkers. I was already getting stalkers following me around in the park, and like creepy stuff, and stuff that it's just mind-boggling. But I know that they were not 100% organic, like humans in the sense that we know it. Okay, so they've already been stalking us. We're their prey. They just watch us, and they do need our how do you say that? Complicity, just our suffering, our sorrow, our grief, our tears, our anguish, and they need us to feel everything that they are unwilling to face, because they're sad. They're truly sad beings, and they know that their time is limited. And even if they have the technology, which they do, to live forever, I know because I was offered that technology as well. And here's a little problem with that technology, is that it's great. I mean, it's great that they have technology that they can do this, extend the lives, and they've been able to do this over and over and over again. But there is a time limit to that, and the central sun, not like the regular sun, the central sun is the deciding factor. And there's no missile, there's no technology that you can use to shut out the central sun. When it sends out its solar flash, it's going to hit the sun, it's going to hit the earth, and these technologies will be deactivated. And I say this will all be dropped into another timeline, which Don Pedro had told me about, like so many years ago. That Don Pedro is my ancestor who's passed, but he's like a galactic shaman, and told me that they would be dropped down into their timeline, and they would think in their simulation that they're living forever and ever and ever and ever and ever, but at the end it's actually the great mother Shakti has her mouth open, and and that timeline goes into that into Shakti's mouth. Mother Shakti eats that timeline itself. So it's almost like, it's like, yeah, you can extend it to some degree in some way in another timeline, but you can't really, because we're here to evolve. We're not here to just stay in one static place. And also, additionally, we're not meant to be parasitical. Like, that's not our nature. And by being parasitical, you're going against your true nature. And by going against your true nature, there is an end to that. So you think you can get away by parasiting until the end of time. But the truth is, you will, like, that collective is eaten by Shakti, okay? I don't care how sophisticated all the technology is. It doesn't matter, because when Shakti, Shakti's already on that timeline, because that timeline exists. Okay, so things are shifting and things are changing. And it's important to say no more. No more. What belongs to me belongs to me. What belongs to you belongs to you. And yes, I love to share my gifts. Yes, I love to share my love. But there has been like a quarantine that Creator put me in this journey through the underworld, where I had to disconnect from everybody. And listen, to those of you that are my friends and family that are not energetic vampires, just know I do love you and I care about you, but I'm not also here, like, we're all on our own journeys, and I belong to no one. I belong to Creator, and I belong to the Divine, and I belong to Divine Mother Shakti. So when I get told to go and to do these things, it's not quote unquote fun. There's nothing, you know what I mean? Like, it's not like I'm out here I wasn't able to like be and share and do the way that I want to. But Creator, I trust when I get notified that I just have to listen. And people can be offended, like people can be upset, but you know what? Everybody has to tend to themselves right now. It's very important. It's like you have to tend to yourself. You cannot expect other people to carry you through this, because that's not how it's going to work. We will be energetically separated by frequency. Okay, so you have to work on your own frequency. If you have been codependent on somebody else's frequency and addicted to them, and you've not able to stabilize your own and ride your own wave on your own wave on your own surfboard, you got to practice. That's where you need to put your attention, because we've been having a lot of people had their training wheels on, but then they it's like they hooked onto somebody's back, their bumper on a trolley or a car, and they've been getting that free ride. But you can't do that anymore. You cannot siphon to stay afloat. You cannot ride someone else's wave. A lot of these beings have been binding the sovereign ones. They've been binding them, thinking that they can ride that because this person is connected to source code. They will be saved because they are doing like this illegal magic, and that they'll be able to ride the wave into ascension with them, or keep them into the lower timeline so they can use them as their source battery. But that's not how it's going to go. It's not going to go that way anymore. Those systems and those old ways are not working, and now it's more like an instant karma. And like I'll tell you, because I have a lot of the practitioners listening to me. I'm telling you, it's mostly a lot of the people that are on my tail trying to ride my wave. And I'm going to tell you this right now, out of love, like, focus on yourself. Stop trying to target others that you think carry the light. You need to generate your own light, and if you don't know how, you need to be humble enough to ask the Creator to help you. There's no more free rides. There's no more of this. Yeah, you can do the black magic, and there's no more sacrifices being taken, okay? You cannot put those that are source coded on the altar of your sacrifice. We're not here to be your sacrifice, and it's a 1-800 no. It's a no. Don't bother wasting your time, because that's more karma being added. You're going to get a bill. And on that bill is every attempt. It doesn't matter if it worked or it didn't work. You are responsible to pay your bill when it comes. And it's coming. So every single time you keep trying to take somebody out, trying to steal their destiny, trying to do all the hoobly, jubilee, woobly stuff that you do that worked in the past, that's no longer working, you need to check yourself. Because you're not just attempting to hurt somebody else, you're actually hurting yourself. Everything is coming back to self. Like the good deeds and the good karma that a lot of the self-sourced people have been creating, but they have not got paid out for it. There is a payday coming too for those who have stayed true, even though they got, yes, there was times in spiritual warfare where the self-source got their asses whooped because they had entire networks working against them in every single possible way, in every single technology, in every single black magic. But that shit, yes, the technology is there, but the Creator is not supporting that anymore. I don't know why we're not getting this. That what used to work is no longer working. Get your shit together. Like, get it together. I know, like, if you're an NPC, you can choose to not be an NPC anymore. Just a heads up to all the NPCs listening. You can choose something different for yourself. If you get one little spark of consciousness and say, hey, I'm done being in this group. I'm done trying to attack this person that did nothing to me just because I was a straight up hater because I didn't know any better. I was taught to be that way. I didn't know. I didn't know I could think for myself. I didn't know I could connect to Creator. I didn't know that I could also generate with Creator source energy. I didn't know that was available to me because I didn't believe in myself. Well, you can believe in yourself, okay? And you can repent for the things that you have done, and you should. You really need to repent. That is truly the only way. And I'm not like a quote unquote like religious person. My connection to Creator Source is straight to Creator Source, not with the middleman. Okay, so I don't. A lot of stuff has been turned into propaganda. Okay, so I don't go for the propaganda. I go straight to source code because the middleman is always taking a cut of your life force energy. Okay, I mean, it's shocking to me how people continue to go to the middleman and still let their children be abused by the middleman, and thinking they're doing something good. Cut that S out. Okay, cut it out. Let's evolve. Let's take a quantum leap. Let's believe in ourselves enough that we can connect to Creator. Okay, and that takes a little bit of humility and humbleness. Like there have been times where I have had to that have brought me to my knees because that's how much pressure was on me. But guess what? That pressure turns you into a diamond. NPCs, they want to take the easy way out. They want to ride on someone's coattails. They want to siphon someone's energy. They want to berate someone's divinity so that they can source it out of them. And I'm here to tell you that's not going to happen anymore. Those days are over. And also, I'm also here to tell you, you need to repent and you need to go to your knees and you need to pray and you need to ask Creator to have mercy on you. But not only that, you got to make your wrongs right. You stole something, you need to return it with interest. You hurt somebody's, you blocked their destiny. You need to clear all that up. You cannot just do damage and then just say, oh, Creator, I'm so sorry. I still have their money. I still have their ID. I still have their license plate, but please forgive me. No. You need to give back the money. You need to give back the license plate. You need to give back everything that you stole. And that's part of your redemption arc, is that you get the opportunity as a living, breathing being to do some righteousness in your life. Now, if you don't expect the Creator to put the wind beneath your wings, because that's not how it works. Like you have to in order to be on the righteous path, you got to do right. You can't continue to do wrong and still expect right. It doesn't work that way. So many people that have been on this journey, and it's not a glamorous journey. It's not like just an Instagram glamorous journey. Like that's why a lot of people do disappear, and there are some that stay, that are meant to be on the post, that are meant to be sharing all the time, and they do a great job of it. And that's also part of their job with the Creator, is like they're meant to be on the post, they're meant to share content all the time, and they're able to do it under warfare and things like that. And then there's others that need to go deep down underground and do the cathartic cleansing and clearing and purifying in a different way, that is like purging it out. And it's like many of us women and the divine priestess lineages that have lived before, the rose lineage, which I am part of, that those of us who have really been on our path, like we've had to dip out like quite a few times, because there were so many like stigmas that were forced and embedded into us. Our body was a sacrifice, and we had to surgically remove this with God, with Creator, with Source, with the Goddess, with Shakti, and to do it in a way that was so systematic that it could not recreate, because they like to recreate the same stuff over and over and over again. So you have to go down to the roots. down to the root. And to get down to the root, you're going to have to stop what you're doing. And you have to go, not everybody, but some of us that have been asked to do this, because it's not just doing it for us. We have done it for the collective. We have pulled the roots of 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 the roots and the thorns of the thorns of the thorns of the thorns at the origin point out of ourselves, because many of us have been here for such a long time, since the point of the beginning of time. And throughout that time, we had to, because of who we were in other lifetimes, we had to fragment ourselves and to actually create other aspects of us, because when they came for us and they wanted to take all of us and they wanted to put us all into the system and to just be of service to them. And so many of us have had to split ourselves into many fragments. And part of this journey is coming back to reclaim those fragments. And that is what I was shown when I went on the journey to the underworld. And it was lonely, and it was dark, and it was intense, and I saw so much, and I saw all of it. And I do not regret 1 minute of it, because it is in the deepest and darkest places that we hid ourselves. We hid parts of ourselves. We hid certain aspects, because we knew that they know who we are, and we had to hide ourselves so that it would not be taken. We had to strengthen ourselves. We had to deprogram ourselves. We had to go through cycles that many people would do in like 100,000 lifetimes in this lifetime. And that is why we are not the same person that we were even a year ago. Many of us that have been on this journey, that's why we've had to go through so many death cycles, because we had to die to that being that was being sacrificed. Yes, they put us on the altar to sacrifice us, and we did die, and we were reborn again, but only our truer higher self, because the part that was sacrificed was already the part that was programmed by them to be sacrificed. The part of us that is eternal is coming back online. Does that make any sense? Throughout so many timelines, we've been trained by our own family unit to be the sacrificial lamb. And that entrainment had to die. And that part of us that was that sacrificial lamb had to die. It's heavy, it's deep, but it's also liberating. And so Anubis showed me, you had to walk on your own. People can't hold your hand in this darkness. Nobody could stand beside you in this darkness. Nobody had the courage to stand beside you in this darkness, but you will have to walk yourself with the Creator and with our divine archetypes. Like for me, that archetype came online in a way I've never experienced, because I was ready to go deeper into the underworld. And these journeys, many times they're solo journeys, and that's why we can't have our friends and families pulling at our energy. A lot of people, they got used to us stabilizing their life, their timelines and their lives. And, we have to do the work that we came here to do. And so that means we have to go back into the dark places that we buried parts of ourselves, and we have to go back into those old coffins and resurrect those soul aspects of ourself. it is a death and rebirth process, and there is nothing glamorous about it. There's nothing glamorous about it. It's not the kind of thing that you could just market and sell, because it's not. It's the kind of thing you have to go and do on your own, and you can get training and you can get support. And that's why, like, Maya did the decree book, because the decrees help us strengthen our inner selves. And yes, you can go on journeys, guided journeys, like when Maya does her infinite cosmic records and things like that. But they prepare us for what we know we have to do on our own. So like we can be prepared by the practitioners, and I don't really go to any practitioners anymore, because I was always looking for something outside of myself. So I thought someone else had my keys, but I had to retrieve them myself. They were always with me, but they were hidden. And nobody else. That's why when I went through the dark stuff of like being attacked in these ways, being stalked, like the brutal stuff that these organizations did, I asked for help from practitioners, but practitioners could not help me. And in fact, one of the last practitioners I worked with literally said, "No, I can't help you with that." And I was so frustrated and upset. And and that's when I realized, like, then I got bit by this brown recluse, and I had to, I thought my foot was going to fall off. Like, I had to slow down and breathe through this myself. I had to go through the death process myself. I had to walk with Anubis. I didn't have to. I chose to. I chose to. I said yes. Because there are doorways that open to us, but it can feel like your ass is getting whooped for like the moment before. Like, it feels like your ass is getting whooped. Like, oh my God, am I gonna have a foot? I wasn't scared, but I was like, wow, like my whole toe is turning purple, my foot's turning purple, like I've never felt this kind of pain before. I was curious. I was not afraid. I always know, like, when something like that is happening, that I am going to go, like, on an epic journey. That Creator is prepping me. The Divine Shakti is prepping me. They're prepping me because they're telling me, slow down. Put everything down. Everything down. Put everything down. Put everything down. Put everything down. Right now. There's nothing more important. They put me into that moment of, this is the only moment. Just, you got to breathe moment to moment, okay? Like, you have to breathe moment to moment to get through this. And it slows you down. It brings you back into this now moment where, like, the mind wants to go past or future, or I have all these projects that I'm working on, and it's like, they were like, well, you need to put everything down and put all your responsibilities down. Like, all the people you've been carrying, put them down. Put all your friends down, put your family down, put it down, because you can't, I couldn't work, I couldn't function. I had to lay down on my back and put my leg up and heal and take care of myself. And then Creator's like, yeah, because you are the most important person in your life. That's not narcissism. That is the truth, that you are the most important person in your life. If you're here on that sacrifice program, they train you to believe that you're not important, that everyone else is more important in your life. That's literally the program. Everyone's more important in your life than you. Like, I have put everything down in my life to go be with people in my family that didn't care for me, would never be there for me, were not there for me. But I had been trained in that program, that I put myself out there to be with them, paid for my hotel for a month to resurrect them, because they were teetering on the life on their timeline, and they were so sick, and I knew that my energy would stabilize them, and it did, and they came back to life. It took, but then I gained weight, and I had, I like kind of took on their negative quote unquote karma, and I didn't understand in the moment, because my love is fierce, my devotion is fierce, but not at the cost of me, not at the cost of you. Like the kind of love that we are moving towards, it is going to be met. I show up and you show up and we show up. It's not me saving your ass all the time. It's not me sacrificing myself for you, because I don't do that sacrifice program. After this last journey that was not short, it was a long journey, and I'm still coming out of that journey, because the intensity, it was so intense and so powerful. And you don't just like have that kind of an activation and awakening that you just like pop back on, like, oh hey guys, I'm back on. I'm like, no. I've been told, like, I'm not fronting my relationships anymore. Like, I carried all my relationships in my life. I carried everybody around me, and I'm not doing that anymore. So people can say, you've changed. You're not the way you used to be. Yeah, damn right. I'm not the way I used to be. And I'm never planning on being the way I used to be. People have to show up for me and the way that I show up for them. And that's all there is to it. There's no more sacrificial. The sacrificial part of me had died. And thank you to the practitioners that did that black magic. That was so powerful, that I know you intended to take my life, but really what you did is you help that part of me die off that said I will sacrifice for you, because I'm not going to sacrifice for you, and I'm not your sacrifice. I do not consent. I do not agree. You have no authority over me. And this is the kind of attitude you have to have, you guys. I'm telling those of you that have been under spiritual warfare, like I don't care if I'm the villain in your story, because that's pretty much what people that I loved and that I sacrificed like 20 years of my life for one of my cousins, giving to her and breaking my back for her, and just I was like, you can be the star. I'll give you everything. I believe in you. I'm going to ride for you. And then this person is the one that tried to take me out multiple times, tried to destiny swap with me, got a whole gang in her little organization to all come against me. And it's like, yeah, okay, thank you for teaching me. And I do take responsibility for my part in that, because I didn't wake up earlier to the fact that overgiving is a disease, and that's a disease that I'm cured of. So thank you. That was a real tough lesson. But I'm so happy I'm cured from the overgiving disease, and I don't have it anymore. So self-sacrifice is not on the menu. I am not on the menu. And anybody that tries to siphon, steal, direct energy that doesn't belong to me, I'm going to take that energy and create something amazing with it. And also there's interest for coming against those who are self-sourced, that have rightfully gone through their own initiations, because the dark goes through their initiations. Well, so does the light. You don't think that the light warriors get their asses whooped. Sometimes they're hanging by a thread, but they make it through because they don't give up, and they don't stop believing in the divine, in themselves. And so we have our own initiations too. And a lot of them are set off by those that are in the occult, because they want to sacrifice you, or they want to siphon from you, they want a destiny swap. So they do set you up, and you don't know they didn't set you up thinking, oh, I'm going to put them through an initiation. But well, sometimes they do a lot of humiliation ritual initiations and stuff like that. But one of the best ways to not be involved in any of that is to literally be celibate. And it's really sad to say, but that's the truth. Like, being celibate has like saved me from the people that they send into your life as perpetrators. And then they do want you to give up on this thing called love, but I will never give up on love. I just know that like my person is like 1 in 8 billion. And so I think I will know. I'm not going to take any chances, and I'm not putting myself into the market. Like, yes, I am a woman, and I would love love, but at the same time, in my past experiences, like I've realized they set me up each time to do humiliation rituals on me and to set me up with their own, and they needed that heartbreak so they could have a feeding frenzy, because they love, one of their favorite specialties on their menu is heartbreak. So they really need the self-source being to be in utter devastation and heartbreak. I had a what I thought was a twin flame journey, but it was a false twin flame journey. It wasn't real, because anybody that's willing to be sold out and to come against you on your journey, they're not your twin flame. They're actually they're false twin flame, and they're there to open your heart up all the way, to like set it up so like you think you're gonna have it all, and then they will turn around, and either they're sent in from these organizations, because they use a lot of people that you already have like a soul connection to. So it's not like it's an unfamiliar soul. They know who you've had these deep, prolific relationships with in these past lives. And this quote unquote twin flame, who was a false twin flame, he was actually my husband in Egypt as a pharaoh, but he was my brother, and he betrayed me in that lifetime with my cousin. She was my sister. And that happened again in this timeline, where they made him a deal, an offer so irresistible that he took it to turn against me. And it was heartbreaking, and it cost me a lot. My heart bled. They had a feeding frenzy, a buffet, for like 2 years, and so but see, that's not going to happen ever again, because I don't. People really have to prove themselves, and the thing is, like with the familiars, it's really weird. Okay, how can I explain this? The familiars, those who we've had past incarnations with, that we love deeply, that we had these really powerful relationships with, and maybe we didn't complete things with. They use those. They can sometimes use those souls against us, because we don't always qualify them the way that we normally would, right? Like sometimes, like I knew this person for over 20 years. This person that was my quote unquote false twin flame, as a friend, and during that time I did not think of him in a romantic sense. Not even once did I have a romantic inkling to him, because I had a partner at the time, and he had a partner, and I did not. I don't know. I didn't even cross that boundary in my mind. I thought of him as like the most beautiful soul that I loved as a soul. And we did some creative projects together and had some success together. And I had nothing but beautiful feelings. And I always revered this person as a divine being. So it absolutely shocked me when they turned on me in the way that they did, to betray me, to break my heart, to try to torment me as much as they could. And so that was a shocker, but that was a familiar soul. That's why when we first met, it was like, oh, come be part of this. I want you to be part of this, short film that we're doing. And we even won awards together. Like we had this great success, like we had synergy, and I always thought that he would be a part of my life. Now I never thought that he would be a romantic partner, because I just did, out of the respect for our friendship, I never thought of him that way. But circumstances and timing, during the COVID time, I got stuck in another country, and I ended up getting stuck at his place because we were visiting, and this like love affair happened that even shocked me so much. And then I was shocked how much I felt and how much my heart opened, and then I was shocked at how completely different it turned out than what it was quote unquote presenting to be. It shocked me and it devastated me, but that's okay, because I learned so much about myself, and I completed that cycle. We were actually supposed to work things out from Egypt and to clean it up, and it was an opportunity for him to clean up his past and his betrayal in that past timeline and to do right. But sometimes old habits die hard. So he wasn't able to clean that up, and that's that. But I'm using that as an example of how like these familiars can slip under the radar, and they're able to use the old familiarity, the old dynamic. Oh, you're family, you're but now it's like, no. You can love everybody. Like I love everybody, but my circle is tight. My circle is with the Creator, and you have to start letting people show up for you. I'm talking to the person that has been showing up for people over and over again in their lives. And guess what? Who showed up for you? You've got to give people the chance to show up for you in the ways you've shown up for them. So that's where we are at. And I'm here in Vietnam. I was told, because I had been in my Kali Shakti energy, warrior goddess energy, because everything was being stolen from me, and it's just it's been a lot. So again, no fear, but like I had my sword up, and so like Kuan Yin was like, you need to spend time with me. You need to come back to your softness, because you have fought battles that no one knows about. Nobody would be able to relate to the battles you have fought. These are spiritual battles that I can't even fathom. But I'm so glad, because I got to know myself as a warrior. I got to know my strengths and my inner fortitude, and I got to understand myself in ways I never thought of myself as a warrior. I never did. Until I had no choice. Nobody had my back. I had to have my own back. And the goddess had my back. Creator had my back. The divine had my back. But God had to show me, like, look, when you're in these circumstances and situations, I want you to look around and see who has your back. And when you can come to terms with the fact that you're standing with your sword and you're fighting battles against these whole armies of archonic beings who are all wrapped up in these organizations, that I want you to see. I want you to see who you are. And this is not punishment. This is actually you coming to terms with who you are. And then I had to go into the deep, dark underworld, and I had to walk with Anubis, and I had to go down to my knees to the places I have been betrayed over and over and over and over and over again. How my heart has been used as a machine to feed these dark beings, and I said no more. I'm taking back what's mine. And you guys can keep trying, but you're gonna get sued. Not only that, you're gonna pay restitution. So watch how fast the karma comes back. You're no longer my problem. You're no longer my battle. God has taken me out of that. And I was guided to Vietnam after all of that in order to come back to to that aspect of Kuan Yin, because Kuan Yin is that love and that compassion. And she is the one I started off with in my journey. I started off with Kuan Yin. She's the one that used to come to all my sessions when I was doing one-to-one sessions. She was always there with me, and she showed me something about how deeply I can love and how much compassion I can have. But then when it gets abused and used and perpetrated upon that innocence within us, then we have to switch gears and say, nope. And then it's a full circle. I can come back to that because I know that I do have a warrior that protects me. I know that Creator protects me. I know that Shakti protects me, and that there's nothing to fear but fear itself. And that I can come back to that soft, loving, divine being that lives inside of me too. I mean, that part is so beautiful, and there's nothing that I love doing more than being of service, like really, but intentional service, not free labor. Like when I do my sessions, I give with all my heart, but it's not me gonna be working. It's Kuan Yin. It's the divine that has always worked through me, and that's why in my contained sessions, I never get tired, because I'm being fueled by Source Creator. And that's why I would always feel like so refreshed after. It doesn't matter how deep we go. It doesn't matter what we are working on. The darkest of the dark has come and sat in front of me in my sessions. And it doesn't scare me, because I know that anybody who wants to do the work can shift and can change. That is a divine right. So it doesn't matter, like if you chose something that wasn't aligned with the divine, you can now choose something else. But like I said earlier, you do have to make your wrongs right. You can't just kind of just say, okay, like Creator, just forgive me for everything, and I'm not going to clean any of it up, because we have to clean up our messes. That's part of it. But when we choose to do so with love, we get rewarded. And there is nothing not worth doing that will serve your highest self, your soul, and the Creator that's inside of you, the Creator of all that does live inside of you. And so there is hope. There's hope for everybody that chooses it. But that's not my job to take your karma and burn it for you because you don't want to look at it. You have to take responsibility of that. And that's what a good practitioner does, is bring it to the surface. You have to feel to heal. A great practitioner will give you this space, the spaciousness, and the feeling of safety that you can drop deeper into yourself, into places that you have shunned, because let's be so for real. The ones that chose to be the darkest of the dark have also been wounded, just like the empath, the super empath has been so wounded. They both came from the trauma of being wounded, but one aspect of them, like those that decided I'm going to hurt others the way that I've been hurt, that's a choice. Those that said I want to heal others from the way I've been hurt, that's a choice. We are allowed to make new choices, and we are allowed to change who we have been in the past. We don't have to live and die as the same person. Like I told you, I have died to myself so many times, and it's not that I wanted to. I really didn't, because it's kind of like a painful journey to die within yourself, but it's also a beautiful journey to be reborn within yourself. You have the right to change on your timeline in your life. And those of us that have chosen to fast track, I mean, I'm going to say it because there is truth to it, but like, we did choose to some extent to spar with the duality, to spar with the darkness, because we knew that would fast track us, that these horrific death cycles that we had to go through would bring us a faster resurrection, rebirth within ourselves. That means like what we would have to do in like 1,000 lives, we could do in one lifetime, because we chose to fast track. So those of you that have gotten your ass whooped on this journey and have had to face a lot of darkness, I'm telling you, you also chose to fast track. Now, here is my disclaimer, is that just because we agreed to some things, we did not agree to all things. Now, this is where the perpetrators take a little bit of, yes, you can challenge us so that we can grow, but we didn't say that you got access to us for her whole entire lifetime. That's a no. That's 1-800-NO. I do not consent. I do not agree. And once I have learned my lesson, once I have done my death and rebirth cycle, you have no authority over me. That was allowed because Creator said so, because my higher self said so. Now, if you continue, you are violating universal law, and that is a perpetrator event where you are now responsible for that karma that is going to be tagged onto your bill. So that's the thing. There is like, and a lot of times these beings, they have no limits to the torment that they want to create. Like if there was an agreement, we can do this one sparring session and then that's it. You don't get my whole timeline. You don't get to do that just because all of a sudden your ego is hurt because you wanted a specific outcome for you, or you found me to be a good source of food for you. I'm not your food. I am not your source. Go to Source Creator if you're hungry. So that is another thing. There's a lot of violations that occur where these small little sparring sessions were allowed, but they were not meant to be dragged on. Like where we are well over the time limit and the amount that you were meant to do. Like if it was given permission, it wasn't given permission for the whole entire secret societies to come against one person. Now you violated. Now you're all in debt, and it doesn't matter how many like more rituals you do and blah 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 blah. That shit is so old and it's over because Creator said no. There was a time limit to these things, and we are now way over that time limit. You have now perpetrated to the point that you are probably indebted so badly that you're not going to be happy with when the bill comes. So you better sort it out. That's no longer my problem. That is a you problem, not a me problem. So it's very important for the source coded beings to also say no, I'm sorry, but game over. Like I already passed these tests. My initiation is cleared. You don't have any authority over me anymore to keep on trying me. It's like in a video game when you already beat, you passed a certain level, right? Let's just say Super Mario Brothers. You passed a level, because that's what I used to play when I was a kid. You passed a level. Now you're on the next level, and you got this cool thing. Well, they don't get to keep dragging you back down when you already passed that initiation. That's not how it works. So again, more breaking of universal law, which we have to say no to. And that is why the decree book, Tribunal Decrees, is extremely important. It's important to start knowing your rights and the universal law, because if you don't, they will keep tricking you back to play the same level over and over and over and over and over and over. They want you to play that for all of an infinity, but that's a no. That's a no. So take back your rights, take back your authority, take back your sovereignty, and take back all that belongs to you. So I hope you got a copy of that book, Tribunal Decrees by Maya the Shaman. And I just wanted to come on and just reconnect, because it's been such a long time. And I'm wishing you all well, and I'm sending you all my love. But I hope that you're doing well during this retrograde. There's so much that's coming up to the surface, and it's time that we all take back our divine authority, sovereignty, and until next time, much love. Bye for now.